What's up, you mutts? It's another episode of the Kevin Clancy Show as another ice cold Miller Lite gets cracked. They are our presenting sponsor today through the entire rest of the year. 2021 is the year of the Kevin Clancy Show and Miller Lite. So cheers to you. If you're watching along on the YouTube channel, head over to KFC Radio on YouTube if you want to watch. The Kevin Clancy Show is now all in one spot. Everything I do is all under the KFC Radio YouTube channel. You can check out the playlist with all the episodes of the Kevin Clancy Show there. But Miller Lite, man, what a tale it's been for me and Miller Lite. I grew up an East Coast guy, New York. Miller Lite was not always readily available. It wasn't at the bar, wasn't at the restaurant, wasn't at the party. And so I never could enjoy it. Never wasn't even an option. And then along comes Miller Lite later in life. And they get down with everything I do. The Kevin Clancy Show, KFC Radio, Answer the Internet, 1 Minute Man, Friday Night Pints, all of my franchises Miller Lite buys into. And so I buy into them. And it's rare that you make a life change of that magnitude this late in the game. 35 years old, 36 years old when I learned about this shit. And I ain't no looking back. To make a beer change for a guy who grew up the way I did, drinking the way I did, to make a beer change, probably, let's be honest, halfway through my life. That's a big occasion, man. Shout out to Miller Lite for doing the unthinkable. I'm a stubborn ass New Yorker who has now switched over to Miller Lite. So cheers to you. Great taste, less filling. That's what's up. Today we got Rory on the show. You know Rory from the Joe Budden Podcast. If you're not familiar, the Joe Budden Podcast, featuring Joe Budden, the rapper who is an old school, stubborn-nosed, hard-nosed, opinionated guy who had one of the more successful podcasts in the music realm with him and co-host Rory and Mal. So Rory had a good thing going with Joe until the whole thing blew up, call her daddy style. On the air, on a live podcast, Joe fired Rory and Mal after there were problems with business. There was problems with personalities and egos. And this is the first podcast that Rory has done speaking on the matter and speaking on really, everything about him. We just did a good sit down where I learned everything about a Jersey dude and how he ended up in this podcast world, in this internet world, and everything that went down with Joe Budden. So a good, true blue deep dive sit down with one of the more interesting cats. I think what we've learned in the past couple of years is that people love the internet drama. They love the juice. And that's not surprising. It makes sense. We see it with reality TV shows, and we see it with, sports off the court. People love the behind the scenes stories. And now you're doing it with your favorite websites, blogs, podcasts. And the Joe Budden breakup was, right below the Alex and call her daddy drama was Joe Budden firing Rory right on the spot. Now he and Mal are out on their own now, landed on their own 2 feet. So the Rory and Mal podcast is up and running. You can check that out. They put out some very funny YouTube videos. So the entire Joe Budden saga with Rory coming up at the back half of this podcast. I also got to talk a little bit about rap music because, having this episode be with a guy who's in the hip hop world and who used to be on a podcast discussing the rap realm. I got to talk a little bit about the music industry right now, and being a 36-year-old dude who grew up loving hip hop and struggling with the idea that I just can't get down with new hip hop. It's not, I've talked about that before. It's nothing new, but as I get older and as I seem to stray further and further away from the genre, I'm I don't know what the fuck to do as a music fan, because it's almost like rap music is almost like if you had a sports team you were a fan of and they left the city. It's what do I do now? Rap has just left the city. They're just gone. Rap is just gone. That genre is not there anymore for me to enjoy, and I don't know what to do. So I got to talk a little hip hop on this podcast. But first, the big news of the day and the week for the sports world and really the culture in general is Carl Nassib coming out of the closet, being the first ever openly gay active player in the NFL. And he finally took it upon himself after 15 years of struggling and being uncomfortable with himself. He decided to say, fuck it. I'm going to put this video out. I'm going to be comfortable in my own skin. I am comfortable in my own skin every damn day wearing my bare bottom clothing. If you see me on camera, I'm wearing a bare bottom tee. every damn time, every week on this podcast. It's bare bottom. I'm wearing the gray right now. I got it in red. I got it in blue. I got it in green. I got it in white. I got it in black. I mean, I got every single color. I got it short sleeve. I got it long sleeve. Bare bottom clothing has come up with some secret formula to make their shirts this soft. It's like the Coca-Cola secret that they keep locked away in a safe so no one can make Coke taste the same way. That's the bare bottom t-shirts. You're not going to find another t-shirt that's more comfortable than bare bottom. They also got denim knit hoodies, which have like a good weight to them. They got a pair of like jean jogger hybrid pants that I rock everywhere. So whether you're trying to dress up and go out, whether you're trying to just chill out and be comfortable, bare bottom clothing has got you covered. It is seriously a brand, much the way that Miller Lite took over my life as a beer. Bare Bottom has taken over my life as a clothing brand this year. It's all that I rock right now. And you can get free shipping on your first order when you go to barebottomclothing.com and use code Clancy. That's Bare Bottom Clothing, BEAR, like the animal, bottomclothing.com. Use code Clancy, CLANCY, and get free shipping on that first order. So call Nassib makes history coming out of the closet. And Michael Sam is now kind of an afterthought. Michael Sam did it back in 2014. He made headlines when he was the first openly gay NFL draft pick. Never played a snap in a regular season game. I think he played in the preseason. Really just wasn't very good. He was a 5th round pick. So like he was known to be gay at the time, drafted him, just wasn't really good enough to hack it. Although I'm sure that, you know, in the list of things, you know, in the NFL under like cons, they were kind of like going to be a distraction, going to be a media problem, not all that good to begin with. We're not going to take a chance on. But along comes Carl Nassib, who is a 3rd round draft pick, just signed a 3-year, $25 million deal with the Raiders. So like he's a contributor. He's a player. He will be on the field, 20 and a half sacks in his career. You know, a couple of forced fumbles, a bunch of pass deflections, like just a solid defensive end player. And so now you know that if there's any problems, if he's not getting playing time, if he ends up getting cut, if there's some sort of blackballing, you know exactly what it is because this guy had shown already that he was good enough on the field to play. Now, which is all well and good, and that's amazing. I love the way he announced it. If you watch my 1 Minute Man video, I love the way he did the video. He just said, "I'm gay." That's it. Like got right to the chase, said he donated some money to a foundation that helps out teenagers who unfortunately commit suicide when they're struggling to come out of the closet. So there's a foundation that helps fight that he donated to. And he said he hopes that we reach a point where you don't have to come out at all. You don't need to make announcements. And that leads me to what I think my biggest takeaway from this story is the amount of people who have said, "Who cares?" And there's 2 types of people who say that. There's the one group who mean it in a genuinely good way. They're saying, "I'm totally fine with this. This is not a big deal at all. This affects me 0%. My opinion of this man hasn't changed 1 iota because of this announcement. So who cares? Why is this even a big deal? In the year 2021, a lot of people are gay. It's Pride Month. We're openly celebrating it. Why is this even a big to-do? Everybody should be like me and be accepting of it." I understand that those are the people who are morally correct and they have, you know, their head on the right way and they're you know, they have their morals are correct, but they're kind of being assholes by just diminishing it by being like, "Who fucking cares?" Then there's the group of people who are saying, "Who cares?" because they're like, "I don't have to announce when I'm straight. So why the fuck does this guy, why is he shoving his sexual preference down my throat? Who cares?" Those people are just fucking assholes. The real fact of the matter here is I've seen a staggering amount of people in like my circle, meaning my demo, the internet, the social media realm that I run in, the followers I have, the people who I follow, people who follow me, people who get down with Barstool, my age group, my city, my nationality, all that, my entire demographic. The amount of people who don't get that their little bubble does not represent the rest of the world. So like, it's awesome. Great that you and your 10 friends that you hang out with and your family that you live with in Boston or New York City or some northeastern, progressive liberal town, it's great that you and everyone you experience is accepting of homosexuality. I wish it was that way everywhere. And I wish that you realized that it's not that way everywhere. Because when Carl Nassib has to come out and you go like, dude, who fucking cares? Like, why are you even making the announcement? Why is this even a big deal? Because there's a fuck ton of people who don't think the way you think and act the way you act. And I think that I've seen this across, whether it's something like this, a gay guy coming out of the closet, or politics, or anything, socioeconomics, any of this shit. It's like everything that I see and live and experience is that way for everyone else. That just seems to kind of be the consensus around the country, around the world. And I think it all has to do with social media and the internet, because you curate your own existence. You pick the people you follow. You go to the websites you go to. You listen to the podcasts you want to listen to. You watch the shows you want to watch. And it all aligns with everything you believe in. So your entire view of the world is curated to reflect everything you believe in. People don't go out of their way to listen to podcasts. They should. And I maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people do go out of their way to listen to the other side of the aisle, or, people who have different viewpoints. I wish there was more of that. One of my biggest complaints about the world of podcasting is there's no dissension. There's no argument. There's no disagreement. It's only, guests who come on shows that they like and listen to. And I host people who I enjoy their work. And there's never a time where it's like, I don't really fuck with what this person says, but I'd like to argue about it on this podcast. I'd like to disagree with them. I'd like to fight them. I'd like to argue and tell them fuck off. And there's none of that. So everything is just like, here's what I believe in. Here's what I agree with. Here's the politics I believe in. Here's I'm okay with gay people. Here's the sports that I want. Here's the life that I live. And you get so much of that because you open it up on Twitter and you listen to the podcast and you listen to the show and you talk to your friends and this is where you work and this is where you date. And you get nothing but that bubble. And so you're convinced that because you and all your friends and everybody around you don't care that this guy's gay, that certainly must be the way it is for the rest of the country and the rest of the world. And it's like, God damn, have you not seen that we have just proven the complete polar opposite of that over the past 5-6 years, even longer than that, as the internet has grown? It's like, as things have gone absolutely off the fucking deep end, you're seeing that there are people who, whether it's coronavirus and masks or Trump and voting or any of the hot button issues, immigration, everything that we've seen over these last few administrations, like there is more disagreement and dissension than ever, more tension than ever. So this idea of like, well, this doesn't matter to me, so how could it possibly matter to other people? Like, how fucking, to quote my man Andy Dufresne, like, you're being obtuse. Like, how close-minded and like small-minded and simplistic do you have to be to just think like, well, me and everyone I know are accepting of gay people, so this is going to be no problem for Carl Nassib? Are you fucking nuts? That's just like saying like, oh, I don't see racism in my world. Like every black person I know, like we get along and they live a good life and that's fine. It's like, yeah, because you live in a fucking place that's accepting and progressive and liberal and all that shit that aligns with that. You go some places in the country, otherwise you're going to see totally fucking different. And I think that's been fully on display over this past year or so, right? Everything ultimately heading in the right direction. Seen a lot of great, like, more places, cities, and people joining in the Black Lives Matter, all that shit. Yes. But ultimately, we've seen a lot of fucking hate and bigotry, right? So how could you not think that applies to this situation? How could you not think that, when Carl Nassib plays in some southern cities with some good old boys in the crowd, that it's not going to be a problem for him that he came out? You think that dude's not going to hear slurs? You think that guy's not going to get hate? You think that guy's not going to have some uncomfortable interactions with some teammates who are deeply religious and grew up and were taught to like hate him? I mean, it's fucking crazy to think that that's not going to be an issue and that it's not a big deal. Sure, it's better than had he come out 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Of course, everything is always getting better in that regard. But to think that we're at a place where it's just like where the whole world would go like, yeah, okay, like cool, man, like no big deal. Like when people say I don't come out and announce I'm straight. No fucking kidding, man. That's the norm. That's the majority. That's what is considered quote unquote normal and regular. And for the longest time, being gay and having to come out, that was what was different. And you were in the minority, and that's what you would get judged for. And yes, it's way more prevalent and hopefully a lot easier, but by no means is it like fucking done as far as, a movement that needs work and needs like progress. Like, give me a fucking break. To act like in the NFL, a league that, like openly is like, yeah, go bash your brains to death. And everyone's like, okay, sounds good. Like a league that is old school, hard nosed, stubborn, and macho and all that shit, that they're going to understand, the intricacies of a gay man and the struggle that they go through and all that. Just like, I can't believe there's anybody out there who says, who cares? This isn't a big deal. It's better, no doubt. Less of a big deal, less of a story than it was several years ago in everywhere up north, out east, the coasts. Sure, we're all like, fucking rock on, dude. Like, good for you. Great. And yeah, it would be awesome if you get to a point where these videos and these stories don't even need to happen. But it's the first fucking time it's ever happened. So yeah, and so do you think he's the only one? No, obviously there's way more. And the reason why we only know about one dude is because it's still a serious like decision to make. It's a serious move to make. It's a serious life change to be the one and put it out there. Now, me personally, I think I would like to be the trailblazer. It's like it's gonna happen anyway, so I might as well get credit, right? You got to be willing to put up with a lot of the shit. You're going to hear people drop F-bombs on you and make fun of you and trash on you, but you're also going to be, regarded as a hero for the rest of time. In the middle of Pride Month too? Oh my God. This guy's going to get laid like a motherfucker. Carl Nassib's going to get his dick sucked all month long. Are you kidding me? That's the move right there. Hats off to him for not only all the good, all the serious reasons, but also you just get to be the fucking cock of the walk for the month of Pride in the gay community. Woo! And you're like a hot, like, football player. Fuck. Of course this guy came out. Shit. He's just trying to get laid. You come out of the closet right now, looking like he looks, doing what he's doing, and the money he's getting paid right now. Woo! It's the most eligible gay bachelor in the fucking world right now, man. So shout out to him and anybody who just thinks that that's like not a big deal. It's like there's a reason why people struggle to come out to, like, the people who love them the most in the world. And you think that just like every fucking evangelical Christian asshole is going to be okay with it? You think that everybody like raised down south who is like, if you're not, white Christian, you're a white straight Christian, you're like the devil. You think that, these people are going to be okay with this? You're fucking nuts, man. How warped is your view of the world? How arrogant are you to just think that, like, well, this is my experience in my bubble, so it has to be that way for everyone else? Get the fuck out of here, man. I'm happy that the younger generation, I'm sure, doesn't bat an eyelash with this, but at the same time, the younger generation and their goddamn music is just so fucking awful, and so I have to hate them for that. I absolutely have to hate them for what has gone on with the genre of rap. I mean, I grew up loving rap music. Rap music to me is like a sport. Rap is like, I look at hip hop artists the same way I look at athletes, where it's like, sometimes in a literal sense, if they're battling and they're making records at each other, like who's better, and you can like put them toe to toe with, Nas and Jay-Z type battles, Cannabis and LL Cool J type battles, that sort of shit, Drake and Pusha T, where it's like you can lay it right out there who won this battle, but also just in general, who has the best bars, who has the best flow, who just has the best overall the most hits, the most sales, the most swag, all that shit. to me, I treat that the same way as like, are you LeBron or Jordan? What about Steph? What's going on with Dame? Like, and the same way at all, like Eastern Conference, Western Conference, East Coast, West Coast, down South. It's all regional. It's all city by city. To me, it's way more than just like, do you like this song? It's like, where's your allegiance lie? And, historically speaking, where do they rank? And I just feel like that's all fucking gone. And I know that is the most old man take in the world. I know that it's like old man yelling at the cloud, but also there are some parts that's just like objectively not. Like when you look back at like the late 90s, it is just objectively a better time for the genre of rap. Like you look at like 97, 98. Let me pull up rap in 1998. I want to make like a documentary one day about the year 1998 in hip hop music. Just 1998 alone. Outkast drops Aquemini, arguably the greatest Outkast album of all time, and from the greatest group ever. You could throw that in there as one of the greatest albums of all time. Big Pun drops Capital Punishment. Mos Def and Talib Kweli put out Black Star. Jay-Z drops Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. A Tribe Called Quest comes back with the Love Movement. Juvenile drops 400 Degrees, and the entire Down South movement starts to really take over. DMX drops Dark and Hell is Hot and Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. Gangstar drops Moment of Truth. Arguably my favorite hip hop album of all time is like an afterthought compared to all these monsters this year. I think I would take Guru and Premier Moment of Truth over maybe any other album ever put out. Lauryn Hill drops The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The Lox put out Money, Power, and Respect. And that's coming off in 1997 when Bad Boy put out Life After Death from Biggie, No Way Out from Puff, and Harlem World from Mace. So imagine from 97 now through into 98, you got Biggie putting out his final album. You got Puff reorganizing. Puff was supposed to drop Hell Up in Harlem, changes the whole narrative and does No Way Out, puts I'll Be Missing You and everything about Biggie into that album. And you have the debut of Mace, and the Lox dropped their album, 6 months into 1998. So Bad Boy is still firmly taking over. I mean, that big Fat Joe drops Don Cartagena. Nobody even fucking talks about Don Cartagena. Has hit after hit after hit after hit on that album. I mean, that year alone, if you're into the Beastie Boys, they drop Hello Nasty. You got compilations like the Lyrical Lounge Volume 1. You got Brand Nubian. Busta Rhymes drops Extinction Level Event, which is not a great album, but Busta's always good for a hit single or two. I mean, just non-stop. Method Man drops to Cal 2000. Cannabis drops his flop, but Cannabis was still like coming off of that shit with LL Cool J and 4321 and Jack the Ripper and all that shit. I mean, the amount of hit albums, even just like, Def Jam with Onyx and Shut 'Em Down. Not a great album, but Onyx coming back on the scene. Like, this is all one fucking year. AZ drops Pieces of Man. You got the He Got Game soundtrack with Public Enemy dropping that, Stop Children, what's that sound? It's and you just can't tell me. It's funny, by the way. I'm looking at all these albums that I bought. Like I bought Smith and Wesson, The Rude Awakening. Redman dropped Docs the Name 2000. Like there's so many albums. Oh, Corruption. Corrupt dropped Corruption. We Can Freak It by Corrupt and On Site. Corrupt had On Site on the And One mixtape tapes. You could go to Foot Action, and if you bought a pair of And One sneakers, you would get the And One mixtape for free. And I remember buying the And One slip-on shoes, which at the time was like this revolutionary shit. Now it's like, yeah, you got all sorts of slip-ons, no big deal. This shit had no laces, slide them on, had like, it was almost like the early idea of like Yeezys, where it was like that, just that like material. It wasn't leather, it wasn't rubber, it was just like that weird sock material. And I went home and I watched the And One mixtape, and I learned all about Skip to My Lou and the Professor and fucking the Hightower dude and Half Man, Half Amazing and all those dudes. And On Site was on there with one of the best beats I've ever heard. And like I was like, what song is this? And then We Can Freak It was a single for Corrupt. I buy that album all because of N1. Like that to me, I just can't imagine, tying basketball and rap together because those two are always like inherently connected. The idea of like the late 90s being, MJ either dominating but then his retirement with like the rise of Kobe and Shaq and like the Tim Duncan arriving and from one dynasty to another, the And One tour pops off as this like secondary rogue street ball thing, all while this level of rap was being dropped. 1 year, all the shit that I said there. I mean, all of those albums are fucking classic. Both of DMX, Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, Pun's album, Aquemini getting 5 mics. Like, what? That was 1 fucking year. If you wanted to like tell the whole story of rap, you'd be using all of these names. And these guys all dropped like their most heralded albums ever at this time. And, I don't know enough about the game today to tell you like, oh yeah, man, that was the same thing as when like Lil Uzi dropped his album the same time as Young Thug and blah, I don't know enough about it, but I also feel like I would know about it if there was classic after classic after classic being dropped. And I know it's like different now with streaming and people drop more singles and they don't focus on albums nearly as much, and maybe that's part of the problem too. I mean, maybe just the industry has changed enough where you can't treat it and think of it the same way. But you just objectively can't tell me that if you're a hip hop fan who has any knowledge of the history of it, I can't even believe that thinking about like the late 90s and early 2000s is like the old history of hip hop. But if you're a fan who listens to that music at all or understood the importance of these albums and these musical acts, you just can't tell me that there's been a year that compares to this. And it wasn't just 98. It's like you can go back through 97 as well. You can, let me see what was the, we'll go through some of the hits of 97 where it's like, 97 had In My Lifetime Volume 1, Life After Death, Wu-Tang Forever comes back with their double CD. Missy drops Super Duper Fly. I mean, again, those are 4 fucking like all-time classics right there. EPMD comes back. Like I said, Puffy and Mace drop their albums. Bone Thugs comes back with their second album, which wasn't great, but Bone Thugs was like this, this entire, weird movement in its own right. KRS-One drops I Got Next. Tupac has one of his posthumous albums. Rakim comes back with the 18th Letter. That's 96. That's 97. You want to go back to 96? I mean, it just keeps on going. You got Tupac Alive dropping his double album, All Eyes on Me. You've got what else? You've got, let's see, we'll do the highest week sales. Yeah, you got All Eyes on Me and the Machiavelli album. You got Snoop dropping The Dogfather. Nas comes back with It Was Written, and Fugees dropped The Score. In 1 year. And that's after I just described 97 and 98. It just that era, it just never fucking stopped. You go back to 95 and you have Biggie with One More Chance, LL Cool J with Hey Lover. You got Method Man and Mary J. You got Biggie dropping Big Papa. I Got 5 on it. Dear Mama. All these singles that were just, these are all fucking classics. Year after year after year. In 95, you had Bone Thugs dropping East 1999 Eternal. Pac Me Against the World. I mean, it's Mr. Smith from LL Cool J. So I guess to me, that was like the old, like 95 was probably, and what I guess 94 was Illmatic. But then you get to like the mid 90s into the late 90s where it really started to round into shape. And you get a little bit of the commercial rap in there, but I think it was a good thing. But I know the underground hip hop heads don't like it. But to me, that like run of like, let's call it 95 through 98, 99, it blows like almost everything out of the water. I can't even think of like other genres, period, that were putting out that much. And I think that was just like, it was rap's time. It was like it had evolved enough from the 80s and it become much more complex with beats and rhyme structures and all that shit. And it was like, it's time to finally like put it all out. And so, maybe there's just certain times in history with certain genres. Maybe, the early days of rock and roll saw a golden era like this, and the same thing with pop music and international music and all that shit. But Oh my God, if you keep it going to 99, then you get, then Eminem and Dre take over. Dre comes back with the Chronic 2001 and Eminem drops the Slim Shady LP. It's like the Roots drop, all things fall apart, Most Def, Black on Both Sides. I mean, these are all, and they're not just like my favorites. I'm sure if you're young and you're like, shut up, old man, you're just listening to the albums that you like. These are all like classics. And I just don't feel like, you're, the same caliber of classics is being dropped. You'll still hear people talking about Illmatic and Reasonable Doubt and all that shit. Is that really happening the same way? Maybe people talk about that with Kendrick's albums. Lil Wayne gets that treatment, but that even Wayne is, old shit by now. So I don't know, man. If you're young and you can convince me that there's a year in hip hop recently that even comes close to holding a candle to the 97, 98 run of hip hop, please let me know. Please convince me of otherwise, because I don't want to miss out on greatness like that. I just don't think that it compares. And I'm pretty sure my man Rory would agree. I know Rory tries to keep up. He's got to keep up with the music scene, but I know that anybody who's relatively my age who grew up on that music, there's just no comparison. So let's get into this interview with Rory. It's brought to you by Manscaped. One thing we all can agree on, old or young now, it's you got to keep your shit Manscaped. There's nobody left who's like, no, I rock the bush, man. I just let my pubes grow. You could be Gen Z, Gen X, Millennial, Gen whatever. Anybody who's getting laid these days, they know that you got to do the right thing and keep it high and tight. Keep it trim with the Lawnmower 4.0, which is the clippers that gets real tight with the nick-proof technology. So it's like getting a shave with a blade, but you don't have to worry about getting any nicks, and you don't have to do it in the shower with the shaving cream. You just got the regular clipper. It just gives you that tight of a shave. The weed whackers for your nose and your ears. If you are a millennial like myself, an older millennial, you got to start worrying about the hair everywhere. Got to trim your eyebrows and your nose and your hair. You got the weed whacker for that. Then they got the ball toner and the crop preserver, which are lotions and serums you put on to keep it smelling good and keep it smooth and fresh. They got boxer briefs that you can wear now that are moisture wicking so you don't get sweaty. And it comes all with an easy dop kit to carry it all around. It's the one-stop shop for everything you need to be hygienic, be smooth, be sexy for your partner. Whether you're banging chicks or banging dudes like Carl Nassib out in the NFL, everybody's got to be Manscaped. And so right now you can get 20% off when you go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code Clancy, Clancy at manscaped.com. You get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Keep it smooth, keep it clean. And let's talk to Rory here on the Kevin Clancy Show. Let's do it. Rory's in the building.
That was quite the intro.
Let's go. Rory Farrell's here, and I feel like it's been an eventful spring and summer for you, man.
Yeah, to say the least. Some things have happened.
Let me extend that though, because there's been some drama in the recent years, but it's been an eventful few years for you, man. I mean, I feel like it's been a good run, and no matter where you end up, things are.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been up and down, but some necessary things happen.
Yeah,
that's all.
I mean, have you talked much about it? I mean,
no, not at all.
Is this it? Is this the first time you're speaking about?
I mean, I just wanted to say hello to you. I didn't know. I was doing the
this,
Katie Couric.
No, this is not the sit down. But I was
so tell us your story.
If people if you've talked about it at all, or if people, if you've done other shows and shit.
No, I've actually talked to more random people on the street about it than I have.
Yeah,
I'll just be waiting for the A train. And someone's like, "Hey, man, can you how are you feeling?"
I think that's the sign though, right? Like I'm always, that's when I'm most like flattered or whatever about the shows that I do and shit. Just like the fans who like on the street are like repeating back to me. They know everything. You know what I mean? It's like people, when you get into this podcasting shit, people like, if you become part of their world, their life.
Oh, I mean, the Reddit theories have been my favorite thing on earth.
Reddit is a gift and a curse, man.
It's just the way they type with such conviction about a complete lie. Like, come on, dude, I have an inside source. Like, I know what's going on. And I'm like, wait, what in the entire fuck are you talking about?
Yo, man, I heard today I saw somebody telling me that. So I do these like, quick couple minute videos on Instagram. And the latest theory was that they force me to talk about these topics, and they're giving me bad topics on purpose because they're trying to force me out of Barstool.
Yeah.
Just like, and again, they have convinced themselves. We got people speculating here. At one point, they said the guys who do Part of My Take were making $75,000 an episode. Just things that they run with it. But the thing is, it becomes reality to them.
Technically, I'm breaking an NDA right now.
The non-existent NDA.
I went back and got the Spotify deal.
But again, it's almost like. I don't know about you, but I never intended on doing anything in this world of entertainment at all. And the fact that I even have strangers, fans, haters who are speculating and theorizing and all that shit, I'm like, for fucking me? Like, just fucking little old me?
I mean, the funny thing, I don't want to agree with you in saying that you didn't plan on doing anything in this space, because I did say that once, and I've never been able to live it down. Everyone's like, this piece of shit is starting a pod. He hates podcasting. He said it before. I'm never listening to a podcast when he hates it. I'm like, all right, guys. I said my goal is not to just make a bunch of podcasts and network. That's just not my passion. Is that okay?
Right. Yeah.
I still enjoy podcasting with my friends. I like talking to people that I fuck with. I just don't have on my sheet here next 5 years. Network.
What is the next 5 years then?
Oh, that's a deep question for a Tuesday or whatever today is, Wednesday.
Yeah, let's go. Or what was the plan originally? Like, so you're from around here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, New York guy, Jersey guy, what? New York. And so, I saw you. You used to run on track.
I did. Yes, I was.
You got those wheels still?
Oh, God, no.
Nah.
Well, I'll still do like a drunken race for some money at a party. I'll still do that. I've definitely raced outside of bars before. Because like I'll probably lose in the push-up competition, but like let's go outside and race.
Man.
No, I've made some money and gotten some free shots off
That's
races.
Funny, man. I feel like that's also something where like I've seen people who should not be doing that just eat shit. You're a little drunk. You think you still got. I ran in high school. It's like, high school was 15 years ago, bro. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, your feet don't catch up, and bam, your face planted outside the bar.
Your brain is in 18 years old. Your hamstrings are in 35.
It's
a little different.
It's not gonna work, man.
Yeah, stretching was important back then, and now I don't do any of it now. I'm not pulling anything.
No, but I saw that. The Fairleigh Dickinson on the track team. So you've been around here for a while. So what was the plan?
Well, I went to St. Peter's College first,
St. Peter's, okay.
and was politely asked to leave, and then I went to Fairleigh Dickinson.
Got it.
And didn't
politely
finish,
asking, huh?
Yeah, they said it's probably better if you don't come back here. And if you do come back, we will call the police. It was one of those situations, but
again, better for all parties involved.
Yeah, just pissing away a free ride to college. I really think things through. So you're asking my 5-year plan. I never had one clearly. I didn't even have a semester plan for that matter.
I don't think I ever did either. I feel like I think it's super rare, difficult, and you gotta almost kind of be lucky in a way to be able to be like, here's what I'm gonna do in the next 5 years, and have it be like something you can accomplish.
I mean, of course you can have your overall goals. You just have to be reactive in the right way.
Shit changes so much. 5 years.
Drastically, just with everything that's happened recently. You have to be calculated but reactive in a certain way to kind of gauge this entire thing. Yeah, man. More or less. So, even down to getting kicked out of school, you got to be reactive.
You got to ready to
because
roll,
of that,
man.
I got a great fucking internship and started my carear once I got kicked out. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be reactive and,
getting kicked out of school is one of the best things that ever happened to you.
Not punch RAs in the face.
There you go. All right, I wasn't gonna ask in case there was anything too
Listen,
bad.
man, I did that for all of college. Like I did that for everybody. Everyone that's wanted to knock an RA.
Yes,
like I did that. I felt like I was a man of the people.
Dude, I went to Fordham, and there was one night my freshman year. I was walking back from the bars, and I got stuck up. And this dude robbed me, my boy, and the girl I was with, gun to the neck, got $7 off of us, whatever.
Yeah. Which, by the way I punched an RA for all of college students, them robbing college students was for all of the Bronx.
Yes.
Get off Fordham Road, please.
Yeah, man. I mean, that whole scene, they must just have a fucking field day with it, dude. I know they did with me. But so I go back to the dorm, and my RA is giving us a hard time about I don't know, after hours, quiet hours, whatever the fuck it was. And I was like, bro, I just had a gun to my neck. So I'm like a young kid. I've never gone.
Anytime a college student does this when they talk, it's never good.
So I mean, I was screaming on this dude. I wish I punched him. And then he graduated. This several years later, he came back. And I remember
an RA going back to never saw that coming.
Never. and I ran into him at the bar, and I chewed him out a little bit in the moment, but I didn't like let it all out. So this is probably like 3 years later, I was like, I got to do this. And I just unload. I mean, he probably didn't even remember. He didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, this dude just ran up on him, screaming at him in the middle of a bar. But I do always kind of wish that I fucking popped him one.
Listen, man, it takes years of therapy to get over those things.
Good for you, though, man. So
alleged. This is all alleged.
Of course. Just,
it's content. It's content.
It's content. Yeah. So when you're coming out of school or whatever, did you just kind of fall into this world?
I'm not really. I was in the music space prior.
Right.
To the point when I got an internship and then a job, I didn't even finish school, which was stupid. I have like 4 credits left or something dumb.
I always go back and forth on whether or not. I mean, now I don't think you need to. We got kids here who dropped out immediately when they got a full-time offer, and the dad in me was like, I think you should finish your degree. And they were like, the amount of money and time when I can just do what I already want to do. I'm like, all right.
I just felt like shit for it later because it was like, all right, I could have done one more semester and gotten the fucking degree for like my mom.
Yeah.
Listen, my grandfather.
Rory goes back to school.
That could be a content piece.
That could be. My partner on the other podcast I do is, I mean, he's many credits away, but he went to school for like 7 years, or he went to 7 different schools, 6 years, transferred a bunch, never graduated. I'm like, bro, if you go back to school now and we film you doing papers and homework and shit, and he won't do it, but I mean, I'm telling you, that would be.
I just don't. Would I be the creepy old guy on campus?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
I feel like the 5th year senior is a little creepy too.
You'd be like the 15th year senior. How old are you now?
I'm 31.
Yeah, of course you'd be the creepy old man.
But I feel like I'm only allowed to go to night classes though.
Yeah,
I feel like if you're at like a 1 p.m. and you're past the age of 24, like
imagine.
Yeah, you might be a sexual predator.
Nothing makes you feel like 31. You're not an old man by any means, and like. You are in a space.
But how old is 31 when you're 19?
That's what I'm saying.
College.
Yeah. Like 90% of the world.
Like, can my dad get off campus?
You're cool. You're young. You do these awesome podcasts. You do this content. You're the man. You show up to college, and the 19-year-old's like, get the fuck out of here. You're almost dead. You're 31.
Yeah.
You're almost dead, dude.
And I just don't know what I talk to the students about. Like, time has moved so much quicker in this era than any other era. Like, I know nothing about TikTok. I know nothing about what's being played, which I'm not bragging about. I should know.
No,
I'm in the digital space.
I know. Right?
I'm being willfully ignorant, which is not a good thing.
But I also think there's something to. There's also people who will respect that about you and fuck with you because of that. And it's all stupid. It's all lame, and it's all like like you said, like intentionally ignorant. But there are the people when you say like, man, fuck TikTok. There's a lot of people going, yeah, fuck TikTok.
Yeah.
And there's also a bunch of people going, oh yeah, well I'm a millionaire off TikTok, so fuck you.
Which I agree with, but no, I'll just be like, hey, Barstool hottie. Isn't that a thing here?
Smoke show, baby. Barstool smoke shows.
So is Barstool? Did y'all demographic and audience grow, or is it still young college people?
So it depends. It probably goes like show to show. So I was always pretty hell bent on aging appropriately. I didn't want to be the dude who's like we just said, like still trying to party with college kids. So I got married. I had a couple kids. I got divorced. I'm like, and a lot of my content is about that.
Hitting all the life goals.
Absolutely, like right to the top of the list here of killing it at life. So, but I got a lot of people who can relate to that shit. And
congrats on your divorce, by the way.
Thank you.
Everyone always gets upset. I think we should congratulate relationships that have any business being together.
Absolutely.
Like, congrats, bro.
Absolutely, man. It's much better than being in one long term that fucking sucks. So, thank you.
Yeah.
But then there's other shows and other guys who are like, like Dave, our boss, is still partying in Miami till 8 a.m. So, and then
he's a billionaire.
He jumped on this TikTok trend, and I mean he's got legitimate like 12-year-olds who run up on him like, yo, Dave Porter, what's up, man?
That might be an edit point.
I mean, that
in these times.
Like, yikes. But
so is this all the crew that wasn't allowed to move to Miami with him? And you guys are stuck.
Yeah,
I stuck in Manhattan.
I almost thought about applying for that and seeing what his reaction would have been. Like, hell, fucking no. But yeah, so like he's some parts skew young. Some parts skew female. But overall, we touch everybody at this point. We get it all.
Yeah, because you guys, when I was in college, you guys were really starting to explode, not just some niche internet shit.
No, that's when it like really started to grow. And then when we came to New York, got everyone under one roof.
Yeah, because my god siblings are very like bro-y New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they're gonna see this and be mad at me, like, bro, I'm not a bro. And they used to fucking, they used to Saturdays are for the boys me to death, and I'm like, Listen, man, I'll see you at Seaside Heights. Just I'll wear a backwards hat. It's fine. I'll fit in.
I mean, it's funny. It goes quick too, though, because I definitely used to be one of those dudes, and I would hit Jersey Shore, I'd hit the Hamptons. It's funny when we get called like frat boys. Like none of us were ever in a frat, but for sure, bros, no doubt. And then
those guys definitely carry date rape drugs in their pocket.
100%. You know, you got like your pink polo shirt on and your short shorts, and you got roofies in your back pocket.
Listen, I was in a fraternity. Well, in a fraternity, so I can't even speak.
Yeah, no.
Well, we didn't date rape anyone.
Not one of those.
I promise you, we did not do any of that.
There was a chance that you would have ended up at Barstool for a minute there.
Yeah, it was definitely a conversation that we had. And then there was also another conversation, I believe, for a separate podcast that wasn't really the JBP shit.
Really?
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I was never privy to all that.
Barstool was a serious conversation.
Yeah, I remember how Joe walked in that day, and it was in our old office, and when people come to our office, I think they expect a frat house and fucking a party, and we were all just like head down, like blogging and shit. And he walked in and was like, "What the fuck is this, man?
Like, where's the Bud Light?
Yeah.
No one's shotgunning beers.
But
here?
I'm like, I mean, I'm a big, well, I can't say it anymore. I guess I'm an old school rap fan. I don't really fuck with any of the new stuff. But for me, like, I loved that era of music. So I was like, the elevators open up and there he is. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? The fact that we might have worked something out would have been even crazier. Obviously, didn't end up working that way, but it's crazy.
You guys have another rapper from that era. you guys are all right. You guys are doing fine.
We checked the boxes. We got it. We're all good, man. We were just talking about that when you kind of went to bat a little bit for $1 million worth of game when Joe was going in on him, right?
I wouldn't say we went to bat per se. I think well, Gilly and I spoke off camera, mic, all that stuff. We had a good phone conversation. Yeah. I just think it was misheard at that point. I'm not even sure they had even saw the footage. They more or less saw the comments, which is always a mistake.
Yep. Or just a little clip or a headline or whatever, and you run with
and
it. Especially a topic of that.
Because the conversation had already happened and it was a misunderstanding and everything was cool, I was like, dog, we don't need to do this at all. We'd be much better working together than we would doing some salacious podcast for
podcast. That's always the problem with this shit, though, right? Is like, you know what? You can work together and be cool, but you know what that doesn't do is fucking garner a bunch of downloads and shit like that. That's always the like.
But see, I disagree. I really think if you do a positive collaborative episode is a little better than let's dedicate 15 minutes to yelling into a microphone and a camera at each other. Like everyone looks dumb to me when you do that. And I'm not saying people should fight or confront each other in person, but if you look at it, it's like, all right, I'm yelling in a microphone at a camera by myself, and then you're going to do that, and then I'm going to reply back to that. And granted, I guess it's entertaining. I just don't see the longevity in it. I think there's longevity in doing collaborative episodes, doing live shows together. I think there's definitely a place where there's a podcast festival space where we can all work together. Like, it just doesn't make much sense to me. Like, if the way Rockefeller, Rough Riders, Murder Inc. all work together to put that tour together, like backstage shit, I've always felt podcasts could do that.
Yes.
But for some reason, podcasters, naturally, myself included, are just chatty, like, weird men. So it just doesn't work out.
Well, I think it's kind of I don't know if it's a regional thing or what, but or which industry you're in. You go to the West Coast and you go to the comedy space. Those guys all prop each other up. They all collaborate
and shit on each other in a fun way too, which is fine. Like,
but I think it always comes down to, I just said this on my other podcast the other day. They all eat. They all got money. And it's much easier to put other people on when you are good. Yeah. When you are still scrapping and trying to get to the top yourself, it's like, well, that's eyeballs, ears, and money that could be mine. So I think at least out here, out east, it's still very competitive as opposed to collaborative. But it's like, but if we all collaborate, we'd all make so much more money. Like, let's do it the way they do it. I think what's missing is like a Joe Rogan type who's like, Joe's fucking obviously set, and then he's like, I'll put all of you on if you all follow like my mantra, kind of. So there's no like one person at the top doing it.
Yeah, Rogan is the Drake verse of stand-up comedy. Like, you get on there and you take a whole bunch of fans, like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yes.
Like, you get the Migos treatment anytime you go on there.
That is a great way to put it.
And I think there's space for that in podcasting. Definitely. I mean, because I think with you guys, with your network here, I know you guys cross promote and guys go on each other's shows. let's steal each other's audience.
That's what I'm
like,
saying,
it's
man.
People do have time to listen to more than one podcast.
Believe it or not,
it's easy.
contrary to I would do it for sure. Like, I wish Dave was the one to do it. Portnoy is just like, he's not about that.
He's eating pizza, man. I get it.
He's on his own, on his own planet. When you start talking about $250 million, it's next level shit. And I'll do it as much as I can, but I don't quite have that same status. But sometimes it is maddening to be like, why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
But also,
shout out to Gilly and Wallow. I love their podcast.
Yeah, man,
I think it's great.
I think there's something very cool about the music and podcast like crossover.
Yeah.
That it's just made for it in a way, especially rap music, because I feel like there is so much debate and discussion and argument, and it's like sports. I always thought of rap as sports, where it's like you have your favorites and you have almost stats as far as bars and sales and all that shit. Who's the greatest? Who's the best? Which era? All that shit.
Yeah, like
so when you
Jordan
talk it all
is
out,
the best, but he's never been my favorite player per se. Like, it's like food.
Yes,
it's
all
shit. Subjective.
And there's a reason why a lot of those things always like pop, and that's why I think so. Like, there's a reason why that the music podcast realm is one that's like right for. I mean, I think of it as it was you guys, $1 million worth of game. I mean, Breakfast Club is not a podcast.
Well, I mean, rest in peace, Combat Jack. Was huge in that space.
Yep.
Juan Epstein, Peter, and Syph were definitely kind of like the trailblazers for that entire thing.
They were early.
But no, and Nori, of course, is killing that space. There's plenty of really really good music-based podcasts.
With Nori?
Oh yeah, I think I'm the one. I think I bet on Drink Champs more than anyone besides EFN. Like, Nori's my guy. And he's been great through this whole entire thing. Like, Nori, I love Nori because Nori will call to support you as a friend and just see how you're doing. Yep. But he's also like, which he'll admit, nosy. Come on, bro, tell me what's going on.
Tell me what's really going on.
Tell me what's really going on. I'm like, listen, man, everything's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Nori. He's been super cool and supportive through this entire ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, it probably has not been easy, but at the same time, I feel like you landed on your feet immediately. Like some of the skits you were putting out and the content. I think you handled yourself perfectly with just like some of the messaging in your tweets. But then that first video of you and Mal going on job interviews was. Like, I obviously knew you guys had personality and chops because you've been doing it forever. But that's different. Podcasting, where you're just shooting the shit and talking your opinion, is very different than, like, let's create a funny, scripted video.
Yeah.
And that shit was funny. And I was like, oh, these guys, or at least you, like, you're good. You might go on a whole different trajectory now.
I mean, that's definitely, I won't give away exactly what we're shooting now and things we have planned, but that's certainly in the wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be traditional set up 2 mics type of podcasting.
Right.
I do think there's other elements we can add to it, but still anchored in podcasting and still feed that audience that does just want to hear, friends banter and talk shit. But I think there's things we can add into it where it's not just that twice a week.
Which I think is necessary, because I do believe, I don't want to say it's like over for podcasts or whatever, but it's oversaturated right now.
They need to evolve.
Yes.
They need to evolve.
And what is that next step? We will find out. Whatever it is that you're going to, whatever wrinkle you put in, I think is key. Everything kind of became video podcast now recently. You got to be on YouTube. It's got to be more on camera.
Yeah.
But the idea of like just an hour of just talking, I think people have that. It's like when I wake up in the morning, as you said, you can listen to more than one podcast, but you can't listen to all of them. So you're going to have your rotation. You're going to have your favorites, what day they all come out. And if that's set up and that's locked up, and I tell you, all right, there's a new podcast. What is it? It's Rory and Mal, 2 guys talking. It's like, well, I got these guys who do that, these guys who do that. Like, I don't need that. But if it's these guys who do a podcast plus and in addition to, then it becomes like, all right, I got to check that out.
Yeah, and I'm just not one to chase the salacious common fan, like the person that is really just here for the moment in the headline, because they'll just move on to the next salacious headline. They're not here for your salacious headline. They're here for the salacious headline. So those fans typically don't really return unless you continue to do that, and they don't buy things. Like, they won't buy merch. They won't go see your show.
I'd rather have,
they won't really support a paywall. Like,
I'd rather have 1,000 fans who spend the money than 100,000 fans who are just like here to tune in for 10 minutes. Which sounds like, I know sometimes people say that. Sometimes I'll hear that type of talk from someone who can only garner 1,000 fans. And
Yeah.
it's like you're saying that because you don't have any other fucking choice.
True.
But there are ways I think that, we could all do certain things and jump on certain trends and shit to gain more fans, but they're not really people who ride with you and fuck with you.
Yeah, and I mean, there's very few people that are good at both. Joe being one of those that's good at doing the salacious headline rant, but also can do
Has some substance.
hours of just regular shit. So,
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
that works for some people, but if you lean into it and that's not really who you are, it's going to come across weird.
Yep.
And
eventually,
the consumer's the smartest they've ever been. They can point that out,
In
especially
that
when they've been
second.
listening to you for 4 hours a week
Yep.
for 5 years.
same
Like,
reason-
this isn't him. I know him.
The same reason
He's
why
trying to do something that
podcasting
he's not.
is so successful is because people can hear and see your authenticity.
Yeah.
Because you're talking for anybody can put on a front for like a minute at a time on a video. You talk for an hour, you know what that person's about and what they are, and then all of a sudden you can, hear their voice or their body language or what they're talking about. It's like, nah, you are fraudulent, and I can tell. So it's funny because those same Reddit idiots and assholes and haters and trolls are also very savvy and very perceptive at times. Where and they always know when they do hate, they know exactly what to say to just
No,
just the one insecurity.
The Reddit haters are like when you argue with your girlfriend. Like she knows exactly what's really gonna hurt you.
All the
it's just like one little sentence. It's not even a whole paragraph.
Yes.
Like
it's just the one thing that it's like, damn, I didn't even know that about myself until right now. You're right. You're right.
Every Reddit podcast fan is like when your girl says you're gonna end up like your father, and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, but that's I think it's such a interesting medium because it's still relatively new, and it's just such a deep connection that you would never. You watch a TV show, you like them, but you don't know them.
Yeah.
You listen to a song, you get a few minutes at a time, but this is like. Motherfuckers, there are fans who no doubt know me better than some of my best friends and family.
Sure.
Because
and know more about what's going on in your life than anything.
Yes, man. Scary. Very scary. But also, I mean, that's why you can make a boatload of money. I mean, you see the deal that Alex Cooper just got?
I did. I was going to say, once we were done with my drama, definitely want to talk about y'all.
Yeah, man. I mean, Spotify's got that money to throw around. And so I feel like that was kind of, if not the center, but a big piece of the drama that you had was the Spotify deal and the business side of things. I feel like there was the business side of things, and then there was the personal side of things.
Not so much Spotify. I wouldn't say Spotify had anything to do with it at all. As a collective, I won't speak for everyone, but as I remember it, the entire crew, not just myself, Joe and Mo, weren't really into that deal. It didn't make much sense for us. I mean, of course, more money than we've ever seen in our entire lives, but in the long run, sometimes owning your likeness for fucking perpetuity is just not ideal for anyone.
Right.
So, I mean, listen, sometimes you have to turn down more money than you've ever seen.
I tip.
Yeah, that never, again, that was a Reddit theory. That never
So
divided us. No one was ever resenting him in that capacity. Like, why the fuck didn't you take that? No, we all agree this is not the right deal for us at all. And, we've been playing the long game since the beginning. So why
all of a sudden
jump?
Yeah. So what do you think it was more of a business thing or a personal thing that led to the end of the Joe Budden show?
Personal. Personal for sure. Because, I mean, it all relates back to personal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, even when you're working with your friends, you take business personally.
Yeah.
Because it moves
you boys
differently.
with Joe first?
Before the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
were cool.
friends.
Yeah, friends before that.
And then we're like, what we should do is a show together. Or was it
he
he had a show and was like,
he's
because he's this is kind of his MO. And,
for sure.
Door of people.
Absolutely. I mean, the quote unquote content game came at the perfect time for his career. I feel like he had been around long enough, had really started to understand what was going on, and then it became lucrative to just talk. And it was like, oh, great.
That kind of curmudgeon, fuck it, I'm gonna let it rip. I'm that.
Yeah, man. No,
I got some anger to get off, some thoughts to get off, for sure. Good timing. But so he approaches you to jump on.
So him and Marissa Mendez, shout out to Marissa, had started, February 2014 or 15.
Okay.
Whenever NBA All-Star Weekend was in New York, if I remember correct.
Okay.
And I was more or less, I wouldn't say producing, but, I was uploading all the stuff, creating all the pages, doing the artwork.
Yeah.
I taught myself fucking Pro Tools just to edit shit. I was just doing that type of stuff. And around episode 5 or 6, Joe was like, just sit here, man. Because
let me bounce off of you.
Yeah, it was just certain things that he wanted to talk about that maybe Marissa wasn't privy to or just wasn't her interest or anything like that. So I was just a third mic kind of chilling in the background and would come in whenever, and that just slowly built into an actual podcast.
Yeah.
So,
and then all is good, or was it always like kind of rocky behind the scenes and like this all like when did shit start to get like tense? Did it happen fast, or was it like this is getting more and more
tough.
difficult?
It's tough to say. I feel like you're always the last person to know about yourself.
Yeah.
So there may have been tension prior to that we didn't even really notice, or maybe thought it was just, you know, how friends act with each other. But yeah, I don't know if there was really a pinpoint into it, but, you know, things fall apart slowly.
Right.
A lot of times.
Yeah,
you know, things start
it's like
adding
a
up.
relationship.
And
It's like a divorce, man. It's like all of a sudden you look up and you're like, man, we are not like the same couple. We're not the same team.
Yeah, like when one drastic thing happens, the reason it can break up everything is because for the past few years, things have just slowly been rocky. It's not that one moment that breaks everything up. It's everything leading up. And it's like when that moment happens, it triggers everything else and it makes more of an explosion.
Did you have any moments that you were like, prior to the breakup, being like, you know, so maybe months, weeks, years prior, where some shit went down, you were uncomfortable with it, and were like I should have spoke up and said, like, you know, Joe or Ma, like, fuck that, you shouldn't have said this, you shouldn't have done that, and you let it slide? Like, do you have any?
Yeah,
you think you could have like salvaged it with you along the way? Because I think about that with like my marriage, where it was like, you know, if I'd spoken up 5 years earlier, then we wouldn't even be in this spot now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why hindsight is 20/20, and every bad situation shouldn't be in vain, and learn from it and all that corny bumper sticker shit. But of course, I think the three of us would take full accountability in not communicating things correctly. But then that also, even on a deeper point, I think is just male friendship. And we just don't talk to each other like that.
No, never.
Like,
never,
and you know,
like,
everyone's cool. Fuck it.
It'll be fine. But then, you know, male friendship, and then you mix in business and shit, and then particularly with the podcast world, like there's ego and there's some insecurities involved.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, Erica, our CEO, is, you know, she came in and she was a woman and it was a big deal, a female at Barstool, and she says one day when she's all done, she's gonna write her book, and I think what she said she's gonna call it something like men are chicks, men are the biggest chicks, like the same.
Oh my God.
The same thing that the stereotypes that we apply to women. She's like, you guys are the ones who are catty and gossipy and backstabbing
100%.
and insecure. And so, you know, when you got fans who are taking sides, and you've got, you know, it's just a powder keg for like, if this doesn't stay in balance, it's gonna blow the fuck up.
Yeah, and at least women get it out by
by
gossiping and group chats and men should dabble in group chats more to get all this passive aggressiveness out, because we just boil it up and then explode and then we die,
and we fucking die. I'm going to keep all my emotions deep down. I'm gonna push it into my fucking toes, man, and then it's gonna eat at me until I'm unhealthy, and then I die. That's the blueprint, and I know it, and I'm not gonna change it.
It's the reason why men lead in heart attacks. Like, when was the last time you heard a woman having a heart attack?
Never, man.
But I'm sure there's a 40-year-old outside right now that's I'm on my third one. And it's all because he's
myself to the hospital. I'll be all right. This happens a couple times a week.
All because he's suppressed every emotion he's ever had in his entire life.
It is very hard to, you know, nobody out here is having sympathy for a white dude. No one, especially someone in like a relatively easy gig, you know, podcasting. No one's gonna have sympathy for it. But it is not easy, man.
I hide that I'm a straight white male as much as I can.
I said to my buddy who dabbles with Spotify and the business side of all this, and I said, how can I get even a fraction of the Alex Cooper bag? And he's like, honestly, the only thing I can come up with is turn gay. If you guys are a gay podcast, you have a whole new audience, a whole new angle, you're good to go. And I was like,
you were saying 5-year plan. That's in like my 2-year plan. I just have to find the best way to do it.
I think me and Feidelberg, we could pull it off, man. We're already halfway there. We're already a fucking like, yeah, he literally sucked on my neck, man. And like, we got all these dudes. All these dudes are in our audience. Man, I would kill it if I was gay. I just don't want to have sex with a dick, man. That's the only problem. The only thing stepping in the way is that I don't want to blow a dick.
I mean, I haven't tried and failed.
True. Maybe I like it. Maybe I can like tell like a food until you try it.
I can just tell there's certain things that just aren't for me. And like, listen, with my fiber issues that I've had, I've had
a disaster back.
I've had so many doctors put their fingers in my ass, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't get easier. Like, it doesn't get better. I have like friends that are now getting to the age. It's weird having friends that are like, 45 years old that have never gotten their prostate checked. And I've been getting my prostate checked since I was like 20, just off like hereditary ass issues.
Right.
Thanks, Dad and Grandpa.
Thanks a lot, Dad.
What'd your family pass down to you? Oh, just a horrible asshole. And I try to ease them into it, no pun intended. Be like, no, it gets better, but it doesn't get better.
It's either something you're into or you're not. And
it's weird every time because there needs to be a witness there too, which is always odd.
Jesus Christ, what
and
does
it's
that mean?
And it's always a
what
nurse.
Are we doing like a marriage in Vegas? You gotta have a witness. What?
I guess it's for my safety in case like the doctor
does
looks there and is like, oh, all right, and is kind of into it.
Wow.
Or maybe if I'm into it, like I just think they need someone there as the buffer.
What does this witness just sit there and it's like?
Okay. They literally just
watch
sit
you get
right
fingered
there
in the butt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shit, man.
And it's odd because it's always a woman. It's never not. It's never not a woman.
You ever have a hot chick?
No.
Never been in a that's something,
No.
man. It's like, yo, after you watch me get fingered in the butt, maybe I can get your number or something.
The first time I got chlamydia, though, the doctor came in, and it was a younger nurse who I was, communicating with while I was waiting for my test results, and I don't think she knew what I was pissing in a cup for. And then he came in immediately. He said whatever the scientific word is, and I was like, well, what does that mean? And I should have just not said anything. He was like, oh, it's chlamydia or gonorrhea. I was like, well, how do we figure that out? He's like, we'd have to swab your dick. And I was like, I'll just, is it the same? Just give me the penicillin.
Yeah.
Whatever the same is. So yes, an attractive woman has heard my test results as far as chlamydia goes.
But it was for somebody else, man. I'm just here for my boy. I'm just getting his test.
Have you ever had STD?
No. Thank God, man.
God, grow up. How do you work at Barstool and never got an STD? I felt like you had to put that on your application.
I didn't learn.
Like, do you have antibodies for gonorrhea?
Never had one, man.
What about you? You have an STD?
Yeah.
What about you?
No.
She's a youngin'.
You got time. You got time.
I do feel a little bit like maybe I haven't lived hard enough, I was a relationship guy. I am a relationship guy for most of my life.
You can still get burnt in a relationship.
Well, true. After the divorce, I went wild for a little bit, and it was.
I was gonna ask how you healed in the divorce. What was your go-to?
It's still a process. What was my what?
Like, what was your go-to? Some people go to drugs, alcohol. Some people will just fuck strangers.
Yeah, I went hard for a little while, sleeping around.
Okay.
That was, but it was just like
condoms or no condoms. Yeah. No, I'm an adult too.
What is this? Like
have safe sex.
1980? No, yeah.
Because that must be kind of weird, going from a marriage where condoms would not be a thing at all, and then it's like, all right, now, where does one even how much are they these days? It's like when you don't drive for a while, then you drive, you're like, wow, gas is fucking expensive.
You guys you buy these all the time?
Fam, condoms were free when I was using them.
There was, for the most part, it wasn't too much of an issue, but there was one girl, this was like last year even, she was like, kind of like, it was time after some foreplay and fooling around. She's like, you have a condom? And I was like, excuse me, what? Like, word? I was like laughing. Oh, okay, you seriously want this?
Usually they don't want to. They're just trying to be polite and not look like that.
I was feeling that out, but she was pretty adamant. I'm like, all right, I respect your wishes, but here's the thing, like, I don't have any, and this is not like a frat boy, like, oh, I don't have any, like, I'm just trying to fucking get it in.
Just a tip.
So I was just like, okay, well, just like, I'll just go down on you, and we'll fucking, that's that. So
watch me jerk off.
Never had sex with that girl, but I feel like, I mean, are people really out here demanding condom use, guys or girls?
I wouldn't know, but I would
use
hope
a female condom?
No. What are those?
It's like I've never used it, but I kind of like, obviously using a condom makes sex worse, but for the novelty of it, it's basically like a big condom.
Okay.
It's like a bag.
Oh, then I would.
Like you just put it inside.
I wouldn't need that then. Yeah. I'll stick to the lifestyles.
But
I did find out there are condoms for girls to use to give head, and to me, it's like, bro, if you need to put latex in your mouth to suck dick, you probably shouldn't suck that dick. It's probably not a good idea. If you're like, wait, I'm looking at this dick, I need to put latex in my mouth. Just don't suck that dick.
Don't. And I feel that way about all of it. It's like, if I am about to fuck somebody and I am genuinely concerned that they're gonna burn me, I mean, depending on how hot they are or what the circumstances are, I might go through with it. But for the most part, if I think you are an absolute whore to the point that it's a problem, I'm probably just not going to get down with that.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess people say the kid thing, but condoms break all the time. So
yeah, sure.
So, all right, in your post-divorce, I'd imagine in marriage you fuck a little differently. It's maybe a little
the problem,
passionately.
The problem was
I understand.
none of it.
I understand.
But
at one point, you guys probably passionately made love, and it wasn't just the slut out type of sex. There was some missionary face to face making out,
Definitely.
leaving it in type of thing.
Yes.
So once you leave that, and that's kind of your routine, and now you're with a strange woman.
Brother,
was there any missionary face to face kissing?
No, sir.
Because I've been in relationships and then got out of them and then fucked the next girl like we were in a relationship.
No.
And she was really like concerned on what was going on.
I had a girl basically do that to me, the opposite. She had gotten out of a relationship. And I'm a nice dude, so I don't know. Like sometimes people catch feelings. We're all cutesy real quick, But this was the first time we fucked, and she whispered in my ear, "I love you."
Oh, but that's great though.
What? That's great. You want that? You want to hear "I love you" in your ear the first time you're fucking some chick, and you know that she's now gonna be like a crazy girl.
Maul and I just talked about this on our first episode. If both people are involved in the lie, and tonight we're just going to have as much fun as we can and live in this lie,
yeah, you're just
totally
it's like a movie
fun.
Scene,
yes.
Right? Okay, I can get down with that. But that as long as it's like I want to whisper in your ear like "I love you too," but let's leave this here tonight. Like let's not carry this till tomorrow morning. How about that?
What was your response to "I love you"?
Oh, I just pretended I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
It was like literally mids, just like flip you over. Like, never mind. Like
position change.
Get your voice, your mouth as far away from my ears so you can't whisper into me fucking again. But yeah, after the marriage, it was like we are acting out everything I've seen on Pornhub the last 4 years because I'm not getting it in. So it went from looking into each other's eyes to like fucking spitting in your eyes. Like let's fucking get it.
Like role play too? Did you?
No,
did you role play your past marriage?
Oh my! Hell, that'd be a horror story, man. That'd be a nightmare. Some Nightmare on Elm Street type shit.
Fuck me and take half my money.
Yo, how about those people who do like the FinDom shit?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that take half of your money.
Those people. Yeah, no.
What is FinDom?
Like financial dominatrix shit, where it's like they get off on, they give girls, or I guess guys, they just give somebody like their credit card number, and they're like,
also like a pro athlete.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like a rapper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, Instagram girl.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my royalties.
I never thought of it that way, but yep, pretty much. Here's the security code. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
Have you been to Tulum lately? It's all financial dom role play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's my credit card. Come with me to Tulum. That's really all it is.
I mean, I feel like that shit. I can't.
That's not role play. That's an old term called tricking.
Yeah,
that's all that is.
I was gonna say that you are just turning this into some sort of like new sex positive thing to deal with the fact that that's how you're getting played.
I did see with the Call Me Daddy thing and all other press releases. I like how they've changed that to a sex positive. Or a conscious body podcast.
What a catchphrase that is.
Who is the PR agent here? They're talking about fucking. Just write it.
Deep throat and dick,
yeah.
Man. Sex positive is the new hot term.
Body positive.
And it's great though because anybody who does
empowering
criticize,
women.
If you criticize it, you are sexist, you are misogynist, you are the devil. Like I think there's somewhere in between. I'm not a sexist misogynist. We don't need to be, I don't want my girl or my daughter or my mother or whatever talking about like
you were just raised in the 90s. That's it.
That's really what it comes down to.
That's all it is.
I say that we are the greatest generation.
Let
me tell you why.
We haven't really participated in any positive wars or built any structures.
Our war is
we're actually probably the shittiest generation ever.
Listen, the internet is like the most important thing in the world, right? And the internet was like built on our backs, right? So we grew up in a time where we are, and I've said this a million times, so if you've been listening to me forever, I know you've heard it, but this is like my mantra about our generation. We grew up, we are old enough to know life pre-internet.
That is true.
Where like we were watching scramble porn on the
cable
box.
Spice Channel.
Yes, Spice Channel. Like
Channel 72.
I remember I had Cablevision in the Bronx. I would go channel up, channel down, channel up, channel down, and it would like freeze the screen for a second, and I'd catch a black and white like titty, and then we knew the world of like buffering porn and just
or finding a Playboy.
That, dude. Did you
talk about a revelation of like changing your life?
This is something that people either know or are like horrified by it and know nothing about. Did you in your neighborhood have a box of porn in the woods?
Not in my neighborhood per se. The park where there was a playground under. No, it was like common knowledge amongst like it was like a secret society. All we ask is trust, and people would add to it.
Yes,
and it was
it's
literally
it's like passed down from generation to generation.
And it's so weird, like the things kids start being geniuses about. Like then they started wrapping them in plastic so they would last.
Wouldn't get in the rain.
And like you really
ingenuity, man. Porn literally is.
Meanwhile, couldn't do long division if we.
No, but you're fucking like Mission Impossible Tom Cruise with this.
I'm figuring out what molecules work with paper magazines so the rain doesn't stop. Can't even pass science class.
Mr. Wizard over here. But porn has always been at the forefront of like technology and like VCRs and tapes and all that shit and the internet. It always
sex work is the first. It was the first job,
right? So we're old enough to know that struggle, and it's not just porn. It's we suffered through downloading. It took 4 hours to download a song on Napster, and you would leave your computer, let it download overnight, and then you come back and you realize it was a fake.
Which I appreciate.
Song or porn or whatever. It's a heartache.
I think I have a better appreciation for things because of that.
And
with the
what
porn,
I'm saying.
And with the porn too. If I was 12 with an iPhone and could access anything,
is what I'm saying.
I'd be a really creepy 31-year-old right now.
Exactly.
Like
creepier than you are.
Yeah, which is saying something. Like
So we have.
If I had these images that even me now at 31, I'm like, whoa, that's a little too much when I watch porn.
Could you imagine
at 12
with
a developing brain?
Forget it, man. You're going through puberty now, and you are one click away from watching a fucking gangbang and watching a this and a that, some shit from Germany or Japan, or they really get crazy. And that's when your brain is forming, and you think that's normal, and you got testosterone flying through your fucking veins. And
like I was so excited to lose my virginity. I didn't care what happened during it, what position was there. I'm sure a kid now trying to lose his virginity wants to nut in her face. And
absolutely.
It's like, bro, this is a process.
When do we do anal? Yeah, absolutely. No. How old were you?
I was 14 when I lost my virginity.
That's pretty early.
Yeah.
I feel like kids these days are probably fooling around. Like I feel like that's.
Well, I hung out with an older crowd, so honestly, in a really serious way, I shouldn't have lost my virginity then. That was pressured by older dudes. I should have waited. Like it was not. It didn't go well. Say it again.
Older girl as well?
No, we were in the same grade. Yeah, it just wasn't. We went to the Bronx Zoo for a field trip. The little gondola thing that goes over. She touched my knee. I almost nutted.
Yep.
My mom traveled a lot for work, so I always had like the crib, and I was on the bus back from the Bronx Zoo, and I was like, "Hey, we're coming to my crib." And when you have an open crib at 14 years old, you might as well be Drake. Like every girl wants to fuck you.
Yeah.
So. And on top of that, my mother worked for a liquor company. So
forget it.
Yeah. So losing my virginity and being an alcoholic at 14 was inevitable. But I should have waited.
Man.
I should have waited. I do actually envy people that lost their virginity to like someone they care about. I'm not saying a relationship per se, but like someone they could really like walk through the experience with. Like she was my friend, but she was dating like a senior at the time and was like way more experienced in fucking than I was. Right. So it was just not.
I dated an older chick in high school who was way more experienced, and she probably why I'm the creep I am today. We just dove in the deep end. We went off to the races, and I was doing shit that I went from like had kissed a couple girls to like Pornhub type shit real fast. So that probably fucked me up big time.
And I mean, I was also an altar boy and raised in the Catholic Church, so I was already fucked up.
Got that Catholic guilt and shit. Yep. The priest probably times you.
Well, that's what I was getting at. So I was already like very sexually.
You were experienced. You were repressing it. It was back in the brain.
No, it was just nice to have sex once and not black out. But you shouldn't.
But so listen, this is what I'm saying. We lived through that type of shit.
Molestation.
So we have honestly, even that, the fucked up shit. And we have, we understand the internet. So we're old enough to have all that perspective and appreciate things, but we're young enough that we are internet savvy. It's not like, your grandpa or your parents were I agree.
We
so that's why we're the missing link, man. We're not the asshole TikTokers who everybody hates.
We grew up outside.
Old man, useless boomers.
Like I know how to build a tree fort. at least.
Yes. You played outside a little bit. You rode bikes. You played sports.
I had a Walkman. Yeah, no,
yes.
I get it.
You weren't fucking, hitting the Renegade 35 times in a row in your fucking basement as a 12-year-old.
I think we were born, I think it was good timing, but to say we're the best generation, like my grandfather fought in World War II. Beat cancer, leukemia, worked for the phone company, ran numbers, went to Seton Hall night school for like 20 years.
He sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
he's a pretty cool dude.
Me, I got a free ride to school, got kicked out, and now I'm on a microphone talking like a woman. I just don't think that.
I'm not getting my butt fingered. Yeah, doctor.
I just don't think we compare to how dope my grandpa is.
Probably not. But I bet you there's some grandpas out there who think it's fucking awesome that you were, doing the numbers you're doing, talking to the people you're talking to, like, achieving your dream and shit.
But it's a weird conversation at Thanksgivings to try to explain what you do to someone.
What do you say when someone says, like, I mean, now people know you, but when you were kind of on the come up, like, and someone said, oh, like, nice to meet you, what do you do? What was your answer?
Like an older relative or just anyone?
No,
period.
Let's say like a peer, like your age. You meet some dude who's like a finance guy.
Yeah,
like, I'm a trader. What are you?
Media, more or less, I would say.
Yeah. When we first started out, it was just blogging, and if I said blogger, inevitably the world said you can make money doing that.
Yeah, like, and we just all resented that word. Ugh. I hated
there's
bloggers.
Certain words in this, like the catchphrases in this world: blogger and content and influencer.
Content is getting there.
Dude,
I fucking hate
it's
content.
It's hard because it's like it is a good catch-all, but it's like, God, if I hear the word content one more time, I'm gonna kill somebody.
Yeah,
but then what do you call it then? Because there's so many. There's writing, there's audio, there's video, there's this, there's that. It's like it's all just fucking content.
And every company I've ever met with, when it came to podcasting, would just do like the same pitch. Content is king right now. Brands want content, and I'm like, oh, I had no idea. I thought we were doing this for 5 years for nothing. Like, you guys are just
kidding.
You guys are just finding out about podcasting. You don't think I already know this?
You are late to the game, man.
But that's what companies do. They tell you, they bring you in to tell you about something that you've dedicated your life to and know everything about, and they just found out.
And they say buzzwords and try to like dress it up.
We are such big fans of you guys.
We love it. We love what you do.
My favorite when Maul and I have been taking these meetings, it's happened a few times where they'll be like, we are such fans of you guys. Mal, we are such a fan of you. And it's like, fam, that's not even his name.
Yeah. You're getting, like the very fucking basics.
Yeah.
I love that too. It's like when they're like, I mean, I don't have much experience with it, so I'm just speaking from what I've heard. But when it's like, we are such fans of you, we love it, but they're passing. They're not. It's like, well, then clearly you're not, and you don't because you're fucking passing on the deal.
We need to be in the Rory business.
The Rory space. So are you guys are looking to, like, I feel like you should just roll independent, no? Are you trying to sign with like an agency or a distribution like platform or what?
Agency, yes, which I'm sure they'll announce soon. Okay. But as far as a platform now, we've met with everyone.
Solo, right?
Everyone sounded great. Like, it wasn't a meeting where I was like, why the fuck did we even do that? But we did our rounds, and it's good to just have those people in your back pocket for when maybe it does make sense. Right. But right now, I think Maul and I show we're still getting the creative together, because again, you have to be reactatory, if that's even a word, to the things that are happening.
Right.
And that doesn't come with a lot of time.
Right.
So you're kind of doing some shit on the fly, calculated on the fly. So I think we just are figuring out exactly how we want to present this structure and content that we're doing. So getting in bed with someone before you have that all together and really know what you're doing, I think is a rookie mistake immediately.
I agree. But
like, if you want to bag real quick, sure.
Well,
but I just think that's
what would the number
short-sighted.
have to be to give? Let's say if it is a Spotify deal, it's an Alex Cooper situation. She's not saying no to $60 million.
I would not say no to $60 million.
Yeah,
I can
take that.
Say that here.
But it's
truthfully.
a tough thing for me. Like, first of all, I don't quite even know. Being here at Barstool, it's like the business side takes care of a lot of. I'm all over the place here, but one of at least the rumors I heard was you wanted to see more numbers and like more statistics about your show from money and downloads and all that shit. Is that true?
Not money down. No, not money down. We were privy to all analytics of everything.
Because like there's always a push pull here. They like to keep that shit under lock and key.
Well, I mean, that was
like, I need to know if it's doing well or where I'm at. And I think it's a little bit of a manipulative move where it's like, I might be doing 1 million downloads an episode and I don't know it. So
well, that was because we had a bunch of offers prior to the Spotify thing, and why we didn't take so many of them was because they were saying, we can't show you the numbers you're doing, and it's like, all right, so when we want to renegotiate, now you have all the power,
it's
and
crazy.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yes,
like you can lowball us and we wouldn't even know. So that's why it just didn't make sense to do that type of stuff. But I mean, with the Spotify thing, we were more privy than we would have anywhere else. Right. I'm not going to say 100% of where we would want to be. But
was there any not between like you guys as an entity and Spotify, but as like within your crew? You like would Joe know shit that you don't know, or was it all transparent?
I mean, you can see our response video.
Yeah. Just leave it at that.
Yeah, because I don't in any way want to go on some podcast tour to talk about Joe or that situation or shit on anyone that I still consider family and may at the time not get along with, but I'm not that type of person. I didn't even want to do that response video to begin with, but we did. We owed it to our listeners.
Yeah, I was just saying you can't.
It needed to be said, and it wasn't even everything. It wasn't even close to everything. But I in no way want to go on a shit on my friends tour.
3 hours long. You know what I mean, to explain it all.
Yeah, I just don't want to go on a shit on my friends or past friends tour, no matter my actual feelings, because it's not who I am, and I think that type of shit is corny. And
as of today, right now, like you're cool with Joe.
I haven't spoken to him.
You haven't spoken to him?
No, I haven't spoken
to him. So
that's
like, you can't really. Would you have? I mean, I guess it's hard to like. I don't know if you were on vacation or like when you took that sabbatical. Were you guys in contact? Sabbatical is a dramatic.
Yeah,
word,
right.
You took some time. Off,
yeah,
right?
no, we were in contact.
Yeah. So I mean, and now like, so there's enough. I always just try to put myself in everybody's shoes in these situations. Like the way we all operate here is like, some people think we're all like best friends, we're family, and it's like. I don't talk to Portnoy. I talk to Big Cat, Dan a little bit, and when the day comes that this all breaks up, I don't think it's going to be something that's like we still talk every day, but that doesn't mean it's bad blood. You know?
I mean, it depends. It depends how it breaks up and why it breaks up. That changes drastically. But despite that, you just got to give time in certain situations, and I think everyone's fine. I think everyone will land on their feet. If that happens eventually one day, it's not in my plans, but if it happens one day, cool. If it doesn't, cool.
What, like a reconnection?
Yeah.
It's,
it is what it is.
The show again, or just reconnecting like as friends?
Oh, as friends.
Yeah.
As friends. I don't. The show is not even in
not possible. Yeah.
My brain capacity to even do that again. But no, it's listen. Shout out to everyone. Prayers to everyone involved. Yeah. Everyone will land on their feet. Everyone's fine. In no ways,
death, right?
It's not a versus. Maul and I are not going to be on our show talking about him. He's not going to be on his show talking about us. Like everyone is.
I don't know.
Everyone has moved on, and it's cool.
Joe is prone though. There might be a morning he wakes up where he's just like, I'm gonna,
if he wants to do that, have a blast. And to our listeners, you can support both of us. We're not asking anyone to pick sides. Like, everyone is gonna be fine.
Did you think we have a guy here who he's one of my favorite people on the show. He used to be a Boston radio host. Signed up here after it went south on air, and he openly is like, this will crash and burn one day. I'm crazy. I'm a hothead. I'm a loudmouth. And we're going to butt heads eventually. And this will unceremoniously come to an end. And there will be beef or there will be drama.
I like the self-awareness.
Yeah, and he just puts it out there. And, without knowing him too much. But I know, Joe is the type who's like, never going to pull punches and always going to go in. Like, were you at least bracing for this possibility that one day it would just, like, be gone?
I wouldn't say bracing, but I things naturally in life obviously just end. So it ending, no, that would never be a shock to me. It ending in a corny way, I would have never thought that. That would have never even crossed my mind.
What makes you describe it as corny? What do you mean?
It was 3 actual real friends, like, speak to each other's mothers type of friends, talking about our personal business to the world. That's corny to me.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways for things to end. They don't need to end in the public spotlight as if you're airing out each other's dirty laundry. And again, back to the man friend thing, when male friends get upset, they say things they probably don't even mean. And now you're just shitting on your friends publicly. And it's like,
doing it to the mic is even worse.
It was just uncomfortable.
It's like, I got to win this argument and I got to one up or defend or,
Yeah. And that back and forth is never going to go positive at all. especially with your friends where everyone knows everything about you. So that
and again,
that
you
game
can push some buttons and say some things that are like, I know exactly how to get to you.
And to me, I always feel like don't poke the unpetty.
Don't poke the unpetty. Put it on a t-shirt.
I'm not a petty person by any means. I know a lot of people brag, I'm so petty. Like, I'm not a petty person at all. Like, I kind of, it's probably maybe even a character flaw of the amount of things I kind of just let slide. Not let slide, but like I don't overreact to.
I don't think that.
And when you poke the unpetty, I think it's more dangerous because if a petty person is gonna go there, they're gonna go there. This isn't a sport or fun for them.
Right.
And I think, thank God we didn't get to that place. I just know it could have gotten really corny and really ugly. Yeah. So I'm happy that it didn't get there. Even though I am embarrassed for all of us. Like,
yeah, you look back and you're like, oh,
I'm
fuck.
Embarrassed for his response. I'm embarrassed by like I think all of us look stupid in it. So that's why I'm happy we all look okay now. Yeah, like,
yeah, man. I mean, we've had a couple moments. There was one time the three of us would do the show together, like on the air. It wasn't live, so we were able to like squash it. But I mean, we went at it for like 45 minutes, screaming in front of the whole office and everything. Yeah. And it was like, okay, well, we can't air that episode, obviously, and like we put it aside. So was there any? You guys aren't live, right? That was like, we're gonna publish this podcast. So like, you knew, or Joe made that decision.
Well, I mean,
like
I wasn't there. So.
Right. Well, right. I mean, it wasn't like you guys had that discussion together, but there was, he was just like, was there any even heads up it was coming, or it was just like all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck?
No, but I do know my friends, and I do for the most part know how they're gonna react to things. So
yeah.
When I woke up, I wasn't super shocked. Yeah. I think there was some things said that were extremely hurtful and weird that I was like, okay, I didn't think you'd take it that far.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I wasn't. And here's the thing, I'm not mad at responding or saying what was going on in that capacity. It's just how you go about it. It's just for me.
I had a moment here with this dude who like took a low blow at me, and there was an era at Barstool where we would write like little battle raps against each other. And
it's actually like a good therapy technique.
Dude, what I mean, and like, obviously they're pretty fucking corny, and we're not we don't look right, but me and Dave once did one that was like, I think they both actually came out like pretty well produced and actually like funny. And then me and another guy kind of tried to like recapture that almost. And like we both said some things we shouldn't have, and we both looked like idiots on camera. We were doing it for content, but it definitely was personal. And then I look back and I'm like, I'd rather die than relive that.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could Men in Black the whole world's face on that one.
And back to kind of tying into our generation, especially us on microphones, non-fucking stop.
Mm-hmm.
That I do hate that, like, all of my 20s, because I started our podcast, I think I was like 22 or 23.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what year did you guys start?
2014 or 15. Yeah. So, no, I was 23 or 4 when it started. And it's like, all right, all of my 20s is just documented with all my stupid thoughts. Bro. And, like, my children will be able to binge this. Bro. And it's like, and then I'm held to like, hey, when you were 25, you said this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
no fucking kidding. I said that. I was dumb.
Yeah, I sound like a stupid 25-year-old.
I hate that idea of, like, it's like, there's two sides to it. There's either people who are like, you changed, bro, and it's like, I would fucking hope I changed.
And and
even there's other people who hold the opposite side. And it's like, either way, fuck you.
And even into arguments with your friends that are now documented. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of like relationships and friendships survive off purposely having bad memory, like kind of letting things go per se. Like, all right, let me just have a short-term memory on you said something in anger that you maybe probably didn't mean.
Yep.
Now everything is just documented. It's like I could just go back,
pull it up. I got receipts for your whole fucking life.
And then someone's gonna tweet me with a quote from it. I'll be like, you know what? He did say that a year ago.
yeah, man. I mean, my fans have watched me go from I was an accountant when I started, so I was like doing both jobs.
I should have hired you.
I was the worst accountant. Let me preface that. And then so I was like, you saw me as like a corporate fucking cube monkey. You saw me be a single guy in Manhattan when I was partying. You've seen the sports fan side of me. You've seen the music side of me. You've seen the romantic side of me, the pussy side of me, the tough guy side of me. You watch me get married. You watch me have kids. You watch me get divorced. You're probably going to one day watch me die.
Yeah.
And it's like some Truman Show shit where your whole life is documented in a weird. I mean, there's no way we're normal, man.
No.
This whole generation,
no
but
way.
then especially with what we do, I'm like, we are going crazy, I'm sure.
And you would hope that would just cause like relatable experiences with people where they watch your ups and downs and things that you go through and be like, oh wow, I'm going through this too, or I went through that. There is that, but then there's also the people that just can't wait to kick you when you're down. It's like, oh, thank God he's going through something.
What the worst part is though?
Let me piss on him while it's happening.
And those people are always public, and the people who can relate and thank you and work with you, they're always private. And it's like, I appreciate the DM, and I'm so happy that, well, I'm not happy. I'm like, I'm sorry you had to go through that, but I'm happy that we could, like, help each other together, even if we don't know each other. But also, could you maybe tweet that instead of DM that so some other fucking people know? God damn it. It's all negative publicly all the fucking time. Show your boys some love, man.
But, I mean, also, we have to take accountability. I think most people reply to hate quicker. So people that are looking for a response or just, I mean, the internet is rooted in negativity. Well, let me not say just the internet. And put it on the internet. The world is
certainly the internet, man.
Even
not a nice
even
place.
our actual news networks have taken on the structure of the internet with
the persona of hate and arguing and all that shit.
So it's the world per se. We all just focus on negative shit. I myself will definitely admit there's been plenty of times I've scrolled past a very positive tweet, ignored it, of someone that generally fucks with me, with the show, has probably spent their hard-earned money for the show, has followed us through it, and then someone says some shit that's not even true or mean, and I'm like, hey.
Fuck you, man. Yeah. I mean, I need 1,000 nice tweets, let's call it, to balance out one negative one.
That's how it goes. And then you start thinking like, all right, this is just some person that's upset.
Oh, yeah.
Probably taking a shit while they're writing this YouTube comment.
If you can get inside the mind of these people, you usually let it go. You know, it's like, oh, I get why you're doing that. It's all good, man.
I just wish there was a TV show, and I don't even mind pitching this publicly without copywriting it, just because I don't think it'll ever be able to happen. There needs to be some type of TV show that just interviews like internet trolls.
Yes.
And like, all right, please explain why you did this
and
said this. But they would never show their face, so that's why it would never happen.
I had a guy on my show, it was probably like a couple months ago, and he was really trolling me to the point that I like noticed it, DM'd him, and I was kind of like, what's the fucking deal, man? And I was like, will you come on the show? And he didn't show his face, right? I actually think I just did that out of respect for him. I think he would have let me do it, but I was like, this is gonna fuck up your life, dude, so I'm not gonna do that to you. But we had a talk, and he was just like, I didn't think you were gonna see it. I was just fucking around. Like, I think it's funny. And I was like, you think it's funny that, like, you know, my family sees that and they're upset and I'm upset? And he was like, shit, man, I guess I'm just dumb. And he was self-aware enough to be like, I said, are you dumb or are you like fucked up in the head? And he was like, I guess I'm both, man. I was like, well, okay. I mean, I guess if you're gonna own it, you're gonna cop to it. What?
He said he was a fan of you too.
Yeah, he was like, I'm a huge fan. I was like, what
mostly
the
fans.
fuck, man? You know.
But even let me contradict myself now that I really think about it, because now when you do that, you open it up to, all right, well, if I say really horrible things about people, I can get on their show.
Yeah,
it's like
I know.
It's like a way.
This
is a way. It's a very dramatic comparison. Yeah. But it's like when mass shooters are placed on Time magazine after. It's like, well, this is what they did this for, so they could get the attention. Like maybe we shouldn't.
I was about it. That I was like, I don't want to give you the platform and give you the shine. But also, he ended up looking so stupid that I was kind of like, all right, that was the point, is to show people that, like, you know, when people are like, look at the comments, they hate you. It's like, well, let me show you the people.
Well, I'm telling you, the comments under this particular post right now is, look at these sensitive fucks.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I do a podcast and I can't take people talking about me.
I know, bro, but like everything else, there's a fucking line to it. It's like, I know you got to be thick-skinned, but I got to keep it real too. It's like, you want me to be authentic? I'll tell you that.
I've never had anyone say any of those negative things to me in person, so I'm fine.
That's the thing.
Have a blast
every time
on
it's
there.
In person.
Cool.
It's all fucking good, man. Do you? In terms of what's next, it sounds like you're playing it kind of secretive, but you and Ma will be together. You'll be doing something, a show of some sort, just like a show, or do you have like multiple things planned? Are you kind of trying to?
Yeah, I mean, I think we both have things outside of just the Rory and Ma brand per se, but there'll definitely be a Rory and Maul show. There'll be a podcast, but again, we're trying to find a different structure to do it. In the meantime, we'll definitely be putting out content, back to that word, of two mics talking some shit quickly, some other sketches, some other type of segments, just solo Maul stuff, just solo Rory stuff, and just to continue to feed the audience while we develop this actual show. So
and if you had to put a guess on it or whatever, do you think there'll be some sort of communication with Joe Budden anytime soon?
It's not in my plans, and I don't mean that in a vindictive.
You wouldn't be the one to reach out. So
no,
it's kind of on him.
I would, and I don't particularly care. He's focused on his shit. I'm focused on my shit. I think everyone just needs to focus on what makes them happy and the type of shit that they want to do. Because, I think when you're almost 7 years into doing anything with a group, people's priorities change, what they want out of things
you start
change.
out aligned, and then
where you start, where everyone may have the same goal. As things develop, people have other interests, other paths that they want to go down. So he's focused on his shit, I'm focused on mine, Maul's focused on his shit, and again, everyone will be fine.
Everyone will be fans like they almost want to hear the dramatic side of it, but sometimes it is just a business thing. And I mean, it is the only difference with you is you admittedly we're friends, so there is an element of like that friendship is now over, but that's also not the end of the world either. Sometimes, or at least on pause, right? Until something may develop, but it's not life or death, right?
No,
as long as the prostate's still good, you got your health.
I mean, I'm due up for an appointment soon.
What's
got to
going
keep taking this Metamucil.
On the music front, are you still doing?
Yeah, so I was actually, ironically, today is the 16th, right?
Yeah.
Is this going out immediately, or am I dating us already?
No, this will be a week. What's today? Today's Wednesday. Yeah, it'll be on Wednesday next week.
I was supposed to put out a 2-pack today. I'm hoping I can get out this 2-pack immediately.
I mean, could that be? Is that a passion or is that business? I mean, obviously.
Oh no, that's certainly that's a passion thing without question.
Sick
and also
do that kind of shit, though.
And also kind of to make me feel better about critiquing other people's music. It's like for so long on the pod, I would, and I don't think I was ever very like malicious with it, but I would critique other people's music. It's like someone critiquing boxing and they've never been in the ring. And it's like, all right, fam. Cool. We respect, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you've never taken a right hook in your life. Right. So I just wanted to be able to create this compilation album so when I do talk about other people's music, they can reply with, well, hey, your shit is trash too. Your shit is trash.
You follow your own advice.
So I just want to make an equal playing field.
I think that's admirable of you. I don't think that's necessary. Like
it's not.
It's like when a coach is like, fucking, you have some of the greatest basketball minds ever. They never stepped on a court. It's like you can still coach without having done, but it is much more authentic and accountable and all these other shit. That's like, I do it and I put myself out there too, and so I can kind of dish it. That's honorable of you, dude.
Yeah, and it's
also along the way you're doing something you like,
Oh yeah, I mean, I come from the music world. It's what I started doing, and of course the podcast shit took off. So I think there's a way to kind of marry those two things. Like I shot a video podcast series around the entire album, like with each record. And
that's what
got
I think
a bunch of guests.
Is like we talked about having a new wrinkle in your shit, and I think like combining the world of music, content, vlogging, all that shit where it's talking, it's music, it's video, it's audio, it's all together.
Yeah, the concept of, I mean, I guess it would be more of a rollout with the video podcast, but the concept of it was we were taking the actual records and the writing and bars, if you will, and not so much sitting there like critiquing the music or talking about the music. We're talking about the concept of the song. So let's just use divorce as something just to trigger you a bit.
Sure, why not?
If there was a divorce line or a verse about a divorce, we're not talking about that song. We're just going to go talk about divorce.
Okay.
I know it sounds complicated and weird, but
I get it. I follow.
It comes across okay on camera.
So
I invited, got some of the artists that are on the album on there, and then just a bunch of my friends, other podcasters, and shot with like 30 fucking people.
Let me get a verse, man. Can I get a verse on one of these songs?
I mean, you're an experienced battle rapper.
White Zinfandel, baby, young unsweetened, man, young unsweetened. There's a reason why, man. I gotta play this song for you one day, man. It's fucking.
White Zinfandel is a hilarious name. I'm not mad at that at all,
dude. It was funny because. So it was like I was battling, quote unquote, Dave. But the whole reason this all started is I got mixed up with this chick, Tico Texas. She's this wannabe rapper from Texas, and it all started out as like social media beef on Twitter. And she recognized that she was like getting some Barstool clout and getting some eyeballs, so she put out a record like dissing me. She didn't even know who I am. So I came back at her, and then I put a verse on Dave because Portnoy was like gassing her up. And obviously it's probably pretty corny and like funny and silly, but I love rap so much that when I and a friend of mine makes beats, so we as we're doing it, I was like, I can kind of do this. Like, I've been in the shower rapping for my whole life. Like, I can kind of put together this song. It was like a dream come true where it was like, oh my God, I can't imagine being on fucking stage touring or whatever. I'm getting off from making a little internet record. It's got to be a rush when you make music, man.
Here's the thing about men and our lack of self-awareness. All men, we all think we can rap. We all think we can fight.
Not me, brother. Not when it comes to fighting. Not when it comes to fighting.
And we all think we're funny.
Yes. And I would even throw in, you think that all guys think they're good in bed? You think there's self-awareness?
No, because I don't think I am.
Yeah. There's two things that I think.
I'm a great post-sex. Amazing. Like, if you want to curl up, I am your guy.
I feel like golf and sex are two things where people hop on the golf course and expect to be Tiger Woods. Like, no, you're gonna fucking suck at this. Yeah. Same way you hop in the bed, you don't know what you're doing either, man.
No,
you're old and out of shape.
I'm hooking to the right every time.
Talking golf now? I don't know what we're talking about, bro. Which one?
I'm in the rough, whether she's waxed or not. Every time. Every time.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming through. I know it's been dramatic, and I'm sure it's annoying to rehash and talk about it, but I appreciate some of the honesty and the candor on the whole situation. Because as a fan, it was like, holy shit, like what the fuck is going on? So, but I'm happy to hear that everybody seems to be like good.
Yeah,
so,
everything is cool.
Best of luck to you and Mal, and
want us to talk to a new audience as well.
Sure, man. I mean, there's bigger and better things ahead, so appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so check out Mal and I's show. It's on YouTube right now, and enjoy your days.
All right, thanks for watching. Make sure that you click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and leave a comment below. I'll chop it up with you in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about today's episode as well as what you want to hear in the future.